hello/x/. Just went through some really weird shit, not sure if this is the right place to post this, but some guy told me about /x/ so I decided to post it here. I've never believed in anything supernatural before, but if anyone can confirm what the fuck just happened, I might just change my mind. Pick semi-related, you'll see later. Be me. Be in England. Be English. This may seem stupid, but it's actually very relevant. UCX, I'm assuming most of you are colonials. They seem to dominate the internet these days. It's rarely hot in England. As a result, English houses are built with over 9,000 tons of insulation in them, and they don't come with air conditioning. Imagining all the Floridians just faint in horror. English people also have no heat tolerance at all. How we colonized half the world is a complete and total mystery to me. So, basically this summer is getting really fucking hot, and being in an English house only compounds this. Decide to go tenting. With hindsight, this is a terrible idea. Of course, no Second Amendment in England, so no guns. Also OFC, there's no dangerous animals in England. Worst thing you could possibly encounter in this country is an adder. Not even that venomous. So, I go and gather up 2 friends to come tenting with me to escape the heat. Leanne and Wade. These are not their real names. Leanne is a slightly stock girl, little taller than me. Doesn't scare easily, enjoys this opportunity to get out of the stuffy English house. Wade is a shortish kid, also my age, with ginger hair. He's a little beta, but I'm a little beta, so it's normal. We each bring our own 2-person tents. They don't do 1-person tents in England, so we all have 2-person tents and treat them as 1-persons. Find a nice forested tent and then find a clearing to pitch our tents. Wade and Leanne both pitch their tents next to each other opposite mine. We build a small campfire to give us a little light before we go to bed. We're not too far from civilization, we are in England after all, so if anything goes wrong, we can easily get to the nearest town in 10 minutes on our bikes, which are chained to a tree at the entrance to the forest. Wade and I are both pretty big history nerds, so we sit around the campfire talking about historical events and stories that we learned about on the internet or at college. Leanne isn't a history nerd, but is open to listening and learning. Wade just finished telling the story of how Sweden became an independent country from Denmark. Yes, we're that weird. I start to tell the story about the charge of the winged hussars. Remove kebab intensifies. This may seem like an irrelevant detail, but it becomes important later. Starting to run out of sticks for the fire. Fuck.jpg. It's getting to about 12 o'clock, and we're planning to stay up and shit talk for another few hours, so it's now time for someone to go and pick up some sticks. Wade, Leanne and me are all leaning out of our tents on top of our pillows, so no one wants to actually get up and move. So far, nothing paranormal has happened, yet. Do rock paper scissors in a round robin style to decide who gets to go. Whoever wins loses. Keque. We'd already collected most of the sticks in the immediate area, so I have to go a little further out. I end up walking until I can just barely see the campsite. I suddenly smell this fucking disgusting smell, like if death was airborne. I literally can't describe it. I'd say it smells like rotting meat, but I don't know what rotting meat smells like. Pinch my nose, I have no explanation for this. With hindsight, maybe some guy was burning drugs in the woods. I don't know why they would do that, but it would explain more or less everything that happens. After smelling this horrible smell, I feel extremely nauseous and tired. Drop to my knees. Suddenly, I'm not in the forest anymore. It's not nighttime. I'm not on the floor. Honestly, at this point I have no idea what the fuck is going on. It was kinda like a dream, but dreams are indistinct and you just sort of forget them. Usually you forget the details of a dream within 5 minutes of having it and are just left with an indistinct structure of a dream. This was so vivid that I remember every little detail, even writing this now. I suddenly don't feel drowsy anymore, but my vision has this sort of dusty haze over it, like someone put a sandy filter over video. I am in the saddle of a horse, holding a giant lance with a Polish flag on the end. I am not Polish, my family has Swiss origins and I'm English. I am surrounded by other people on horses, I don't recognize them. We are thundering down a hill towards an army. For some fucked up reason, I was hallucinating that I was in the charge of the winged hussars. I was mildly creeped out by this, but as I'd always idolized this, I decided to try and enjoy the moment. Charge down the hill and spear the first enemy soldier. He's not dead. The enemy soldier looks up at me and starts grinning. Like a Cheshire cat grin rather than an actual smile. He opens his mouth and sticks his tongue out. It's a long forked snake's tongue. The battle just sort of melts away into void. It's just me on my horse with this disgusting mutant soldier looking at me from the end of my spear. Then he starts to mutate. No fucking kidding, like the human starts to melt away. At first he looks like more or less human just with a huge snake's tongue. Then, he starts to look more like the exaggerated perception of the Persians from 300, soulless eyes, teeth filed to fangs. Then, the thing just fucking melts. No holding back anymore, the thing just turns into basically Dead Hand from Legend of Zelda, except it's not quite so large and immobile, it's got long spindly legs. I'm dying of fear, but at the same time, this thing is still on the end of a lance, so I'm still thinking rationally. The fuck is going on? What is this? Why am I here? Suddenly the awful smell returns. Again I feel really drowsy, finally drop the spear on the ground. The abomination on the end literally melts into a liquid and drains through the non-existent ground. I'm still in a void of some sort. The horse starts to melt under me. Start panicking, too afraid to cry out or scream. Suddenly I'm back in the forest on my knees. It's darker than I remember. Hear the sound of hooves in the distance. Look up. There's a horse standing in front of me, but in the saddle is the weird fucking thing that I saw in my vision. Thing stares at me for a few seconds before the horse trots away. Lie gasping on the floor wondering what the fuck just happened. Am still thinking that. After a few minutes, stand up still gasping and out of breath. Decide to abandon the mission and get back to camp. Not a stealthy mover, make tons of noise stepping on the grass and pushing past small bushes. Get close to camp and realize the fire is out. Mutter, what the fuck is going on out loud? Suddenly, from behind my tent something charges as me screaming loudly. I see the glint of a knife. Scream like a little girl and cover my face. The thing stops dead in its tracks. It's Leanne. Who the fuck are you? Leanne asks, pointing the knife at me. What? It's me, Anon. What the fuck happened here? How do I know it's you? What do you mean, how do you know it's me? What the fuck's happening? I feel another knife on the back of my neck. It's Wade. He's behaving normally again. Wade says, if you can call this normal. They put the knives down and we go back to the tent. What the fuck happened? I was only gone for like 5 minutes. I ask. They inform me I have been gone for between 30 minutes and an hour. Apparently, shortly after I left I came back, without the sticks I went to fetch. Didn't act like me though, very quiet, wouldn't answer questions properly. As if I didn't know them, at all. Wade starts telling story about foreign fighter pilots in 1940, I'm not listening to him. Story ends, he asks me for one. Apparently I just sat there and said, what story? Wade and Leanne figured something is wrong and start to question the other me. Other me stands up and stamps on the fire and destroys it, grins like the Cheshire cat and starts cackling. Wade zips up his tent and hides. Leanne grabs knife. This is why I'm not giving their real names. If the police state that is the UK reads 4chan, my friends would both end up in Britain. Attempts to attack the other me. Other me runs away into the woods cackling like a maniac. Leaves trail of blood behind him. Wade terrified. Leanne very worried. Neither of them reports any kind of hallucinations or terrible smell. I give quick rundown of what I saw. They think I'm high. I tell them they're high. We both figure we've gotta get out of here. Start to pack away the tents. Smell comes back, worse than before. Oh God, It's the smell, I remark. Wade and Leanne both gagging badly. Suddenly, huge sound, like a cross between a roar and a human scream. It's not a fox, foxes don't roar. We abandon the tents and run for our bikes. We get to the bikes and they're all metal gray. The paint has been completely stripped from all the bikes. Unlock the bikes and abandon the lock. I think I end up with Leanne's bike. We're panicking so much and we can't tell which is which because no paint. Cycle down the road at full speed. On second thought, I doubt this could have been caused by drugs. My bike is still stripped of its paint and so is Leanne's and Wade's bike. None of us brought our phones, so we all rushed to the closest safe house, which was Leanne's. Get into the house. Leanne's parents are both asleep. It's 1 in the morning. Okay, what the fuck just happened? I ask. I have no fucking clue, says Leanne. My parents are gonna be pissed when they find out that we abandoned the tents, Wade remarks. Leanne suggests that we go back during the day and pick them up again, but Wade immediately vetoes it, citing that there's something wrong with those woods. I agree with him. Lift my hand from the sofa where I'm sitting. There's something sticky on my hand. It's black. For some fucking reason I never noticed this on the bike. 2 days later, I meet up with Leanne again and we decided to go and recover the tents. We go and find the clearing where we camped. The tents are still there, half packed up, no sign of anything out of the ordinary. We start to pack that shit up. Nothing weird happens until we'd completely packed up and we're ready to leave. Suddenly, the smell. We don't hesitate and book it straight away. Not anticipating staying for long, we didn't chain up the bikes, so we were able to recover the bike lock I dropped when we camped. So /x/ what the fuck happened out there? I don't have any explanation for what happened. Leanne is baffled, Wade and I are terrified. I asked around for who to ask for paranormal shit and some guy recommended /x/. We are never going back to those woods or any woods again. Unless Britain gets its shit together and passes a second amendment of its own. I'd love to go with a large group of people and shoot whatever it was. Maybe organize some commandos to come and bring its hide back. But without some serious firepower, never going back. Any help would be very much appreciated.